Hey, Joey here. Today I'm going to show you a new toy that we have here. It's an AR-15. I'm not going to bother unboxing it because that just takes too long. But I will show you the box it came in. It's rather long. Not that long, a little over 2 feet for me to put in the video. Because I am doing it kind of close on a little table with I got a little gun assembly pad here. Got this AR-15 build kit directly from a company called Daytona Tactical. They're out of Daytona Beach, Florida. These kits right now, as they're going, and this is June of 2024, these kits are going for $419.95. And then $27.30 tax, $22.80 shipping. The total cost is $470.05 delivered to your house. I believe it's within the 50 continental states. I don't know about, Alaska and Hawaii. I'm not sure. Now, used to be that they had them where it was over a certain amount of money, it was free shipping. But things changed over time. I don't know what they're doing now exactly, why they're not offering free shipping. It also appears that they're not offering the stainless steel barrel upgrade for $16. I don't know why, what the reasoning of that is. Maybe they had issues with the stainless steel barrels. I don't know. They do have other upgrade options available. There's like a whole list when you look on their app or on their website, DaytonaTactical.com, I believe it is. And they're not paying me they didn't send this to me. I bought it. They didn't send it to me. I'm not getting paid for this, nothing. This is just my own opinion. You take it for what it's worth. But I think this is a good deal for the money. Because there's a lot of other brand ARs out there that are expensive. And this seems to be pretty good quality to me. It is mil spec. Everything's mil spec from what I can tell and what they say. And they offer them in different colors. And there's other different options I'll explain in a minute here. This is called Titanium Blue, I believe they call it. Yes. And the basic description is 16-inch AR-15 rifle kit with 15-inch slim key mod. That's this handguard here, which I'll go into in a minute. With 80% lower receiver. Now that's the important part, okay? That's why this can get delivered directly to your door without having to go through a FFL, which is a Federal Firearms License Dealer, something like that I think it stands for. And then, of course, the dealer is going to charge you a fee if you got to have it shipped to them. And if you have to have something shipped to them, that means you got to go through a background check, all that stuff. With this, you can order it and it's shipped right to your door. Now, I don't think it's in all 50 states. There are a bunch of states on the list that they cannot ship to. And I'm pretty sure that it's California, New York, New Jersey, and there's a bunch of other states. Might be like 10, 13 states, something like that will not let this ship in. So when you go on their website, if I recall right, I think they had it in the description list somewhere in there, maybe even in red, something like that, the states that it cannot be shipped to. So you want to verify that before you order it and make sure you're not trying to ship it into a state where they will not let it ship to. Because then I'm assuming that Daytona Tactical will just cancel your order. I'm not sure. Because here in Florida, we can order them and have them delivered, and I think everybody should be able to, but different states are different. So with that being said, and I don't know what the name brand of this is, like the specific name. I know there's somebody that builds it. I don't know the name of the company. Maybe if you look through the description, it might say in there. It's not going to be like a major company like Colt or somebody like that. it's going to be an off-brand company making this, and that's how they can sell them cheaper. But to me, it's good quality. I like it. You know, I think they're nice. And what's cool about this is the whole upper receiver, this is considered the upper receiver, comes assembled. Okay, so you can see kind of this is most of the parts right here in the bag. Okay, I'll get to the most important part in a minute. You know, you got your, I think it's a Magpul. Yeah, it says Magpul on it, I believe. I can't really see. Oh, Mo. Yeah, Mo Magpul, I think it is. And it's got like a little storage in the bottom of the handle. Decent quality grip. I like the grip on this. It's nothing too fancy, but it does have the beaver tail, which I like. To me, that's a little more comfortable rather than your hand riding up on the back of the aluminum. It gives you a little bit more thickness there. I like that. So the grip's nice. And the nice thing about these guns are kind of so modular, and because they're mil spec, you can order a lot of aftermarket parts for this thing. So it's very upgradable, which is nice. Now I'll get into some other features I like. So that's good. Magpul Mo grip. Okay, it's real thick. I mean, you can't. Yeah, it's very hard to squeeze it. The plastic, it's so thick and robust. Pretty good. I like it. We'll put that out of the way. Now we got, I believe this is Magpul also, made in USA. Right in there it says it. Go figure. Got a rubber bump stock on it. It's not really padded, but it's a rubber bump stock. Butt plate, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it says Magpul Industries on it right here. I don't know what version of magazine this, of what version of stock this is. There's a number on it. I can't really make it out. But it's one of their lower model. Oh, it's a Mo also. It says Mo right in there. You can make that out, Mo. So this is a Mo adjustable bump stock. So when you push this in, as you can see, it pulls this T-bar down, which pulls a spring-loaded pin down, and that coincides with your 6 selection here. You can see the little indents. This is your buffer tube, and it's got the castle nut on it, and that screws into your 80% lower, which I'll get to shortly. And this slides on here, and you push that in. And actually, what you got to do to get it started, because it's got to go over this ramp right here and then drop down in that hole, and then it's captured within that slot. So when you squeeze the handle, it's only going to lift the pin up enough to come out of the hole, but it'll still be captured within that higher raised slot, so you can't accidentally pull your stock apart. So what you got to do with that, and this isn't an assembly video, I'm just showing you this because it's easy. You just got to pull back extra on this T-bar farther than what the handle can move it. You see when I push the handle, there's still a little bit of play there. It can come back. So you got to pull it back that extra. It's pretty hard. And then you kind of get it in there like that, and then it goes in there. And now we're in, and that's it. And then you could just squeeze this, and now see it hit the bump stop. It goes forward, hits the stop. The castle nut is not your stop. It stops because it's hitting the end of that slot. And you got 6 adjustments wherever you want to go. And that's it. So I like that about the ARs. There's all kind of different accessories, stocks you can get. But if you don't want to spend a lot of money and you want a decent gun, I think these are pretty nice. I mean, yeah, there's all kind of upgrades. There's different bolt carrier groups and everything you can get, and you can go crazy. But if you're not out there like a weekend warrior and shooting it everywhere, and I don't see why you couldn't shoot this a lot. It appears to have a quality barrel. It has a low profile gas block, what they call it. That way it fits underneath the handguard. And then there's a gas tube that comes up through here, and that's for your blowback, and that injects gas into the system over here, which blows the bolt back against the buffer spring, which is right here. Your buffer spring goes in here, and it's long, but you got to compress it in there. And then here's your buffer weight. Sometimes you can feel the weight in there jiggling. That's your buffer weight. That sits inside the spring right here, and you push it back, and then there's a detent pin that'll be in the lower receiver that'll push a little rod up, a little spring-loaded rod, and it'll lock that buffer in so it won't come out if you open it up. But that's the whole assembly thing. I don't know if YouTube will let us do assembly videos anymore. I think they took them down, but I'm still going to do an assembly video and see if there's some format I could put it on. But yeah, and then this is the part that goes with it, that goes between the castle nut and the lower receiver, and locks in. I forget what it does. It locks in. It locks this in. It locks in a couple things, but see, you need that little back plate. So we can get that out of the way. We got the handle out of the way. We can get all this out of the way. And this all goes together. And you could even change like different buffer weights in there if you want to lessen your kickback on your gun. But then if you go too heavy on a buffer weight, it might not work good with some ammo. So you can experiment with these. You could even get adjustable gas blocks to adjust the gas pressure to also adjust your blowback that way, your recoil. So you can adjust the blowback and the recoil by either an adjustable gas block, which I don't believe these are adjustable, but you can get an adjustable gas block for them, and that'll control your gas pressure to blow back your bolt carrier group, or you can use a different buffer weight assembly, a heavier one, lighter one, and that'll affect it as well. So you got two different ways you can adjust on this, which is pretty cool also. Now this is your upper receiver, and you have your charging handle here. This is not ambidextrous, but it's not that hard to pull it back. Let me see here. I gotta unlock it. Yep. And as soon as it starts coming back, you see this little door flipped open, because this little rounded part here just has a little spring-loaded detent that kind of locks it under that lip. But then as soon as you pull this bolt carrier group, there's a little recess spot right in here, which is hard to show you in the camera. You can kind of see it. That protrusion right there, that bump, sits into that. So as soon as you start to pull this back, the charging handle pulls the bolt carrier group back with it. You can see there's the bolt carrier group coming back with the charging handle. Okay, it'll come all the way. I can slide it all the way out right now if I want to. Okay, and then this is your forward assist. So there's a little, and I'll show you. I'll push this back in, lock it back in. Charging handle's locked. Now I can flip my cover because it's going to sit in that little recess right there. So I'll flip the cover. It's locked. That's just a dust cover. If you're out hunting or whatever, it helps keep dust from getting in it. If you're walking around through the woods with it, or whatever, and as soon as you go to fire it, it's going to pop open on its own again. So you don't have to worry about trying to open it. It'll always pop open on its own. And then, if you're not going to shoot it for a little bit, you just shut it again. And you can walk around with it. It's just got a little spring right here. If you can see that or not, I don't know. It's a little spring. Pops it open. But yeah, so what's nice about this one and why I recommend this kit, and it doesn't matter the color you get, that's personal preference, but the price is right on this. And it comes with the lower receiver, which I'll show you in a minute. Now, and let me get into this. These are all the other small parts too that it comes with. There's your trigger right there. And there's your trigger springs. There's your hammer right there. Your hammer. And there's a bunch of small parts. Now, they used to be in color-coded bags, but they're not doing them like that now. They're just all in regular little Ziploc bags. But they used to be color-coded, which was pretty cool. For some reason, they're not doing that anymore. Maybe it's cost savings. I don't know. But that's the trigger springs and all the other kind of springs you need for this build. There's your trigger. It's just, it's all mil-spec parts. It's just a basic smooth trigger, rounded profile. Nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. And then you got your hammer. I think they call this your sear or whatever in here. And the bolt for the hold the handle on. And your, you got a little release lever there for when the bolt is held back after your magazine empties, it'll hold the bolt back. So you can slap a mag in, hit your release, and the bolt will come forward. So that's all this stuff in here. Your safety levers in here, all that. So this is all your small parts will all be in this one bag that you're going to need to assemble this. Yeah, little pins and stuff. There's some takedown pins you need. And what's cool about the AR-15 is, let me put this away, I don't want to lose these parts. Okay. Like I said, it's modular. Parts are plentiful. You can get all kind of aftermarket upgrades. For some reason, I've gone on eBay, and I used to have a bunch of parts in my my shopping cart. And one day I went in there, and they were all gone. So apparently eBay is cutting out the availability to get aftermarket parts for these guns. I don't know why. I understand you can't buy guns on there, but to buy parts, that's kind of ridiculous why eBay did that. I couldn't find anything on there anymore on eBay. I don't know why they're doing that. Trying to control you. It's kind of ridiculous. There's other websites you can go on through China and get parts for this. I think AliExpress might have some. Temu might or might not have some. Temu, I don't know. I haven't looked for them on there. There's other sites too that are similar to that have been around way longer than Temu, called DHgate. I think is one I ordered parts for because I needed some ambidextrous parts for a build, and I wanted some, left-handed ambidextrous parts to make it ambidextrous, so it's left or right-handed. Couldn't find anything anywhere, and if you did, it was name brand stuff that was very expensive. I just wanted the generic, and I got some little generic parts off of like DHgate. There's another one called DX something, but there's a couple of them out there that do have third-party cheap aftermarket parts, like a charging handle. I bought an ambidextrous charging handle for another build, and it was cheap. At the time I got it, it was like $10 or something like that, $10-12. When to get a name brand charging handle in the United States is expensive, anywhere from $30 up to $80, $90. Could even be pushing $100 now for a charging handle, and that's crazy for an ambidextrous charging handle. And the difference is it has levers on both sides. Not quite like this. It's a little different, but you can do it from either side and it'll unlock, because that's what locks this charging handle. You can see there, or maybe you can't. That little thing lifts out of there. That's your little lock. It just holds it in place. So as soon as you pull that, it's free to come back. As you can see, I already moved it back. I don't want to pull it all the way back. But, yeah, I might as well do it and show you. And then, okay, I had to put a little pressure on to get that door to flip open. You got your forward assist, which, if I push this, you see it pushing the bolt carrier forward. Okay. All the way into what they call battery. Okay. Where the bolt carrier, as it goes in, there's a piece in the front of the bolt carrier that has, they're like locking lugs on it. And as it goes in, it rotates and locks into the locking lugs that are in the breech of the barrel. So the front part of the bolt carrier group locks into the breech of the barrel, and they become like one. They're locked together. So when that bullet, when the gunpowder explodes and the bullet is pressurized to go out of the barrel, the bolt carrier group, or whatever they call that, breech block or whatever it is, and it locks into the breech. It can't blow backward because there's so much pressure. It's got to be locked in there. So it's pretty neat how this design works. It's pretty reliable design and pretty simplistic in its design too. It's not overly complicated. But the charging hand, I mean, this forward assist, okay, there's little, if you look close, you'll see little notches notched out in that bolt carrier, and that's what this is hitting. It's at a little bit of an angle, kind of going in, so it's spring-loaded, and as you're pushing it, there's a little end piece that is on a pivot, so it can pivot as you push it in, and it grabs those little notches, like teeth, and it just kind of nudges it forward a little bit at a time, whatever that is, an 1/8 inch, a 1/4 inch, it nudges it forward until you keep doing it until it's seated. So that's if you have a problem, if it doesn't seat all the way, because otherwise you'd have to recock your charging handle and try to let it go and let the spring shoot it forward. But so that's nice to have that. There are some versions of the AR that do not have it. Some people don't want it. I prefer to have it because it's not bothering me being there. And then if I need it, it's there. I wish they had it ambidextrous on both sides. I'd love to have that. I wish somebody would come out with one. Or maybe do something cool. Do it some other way. I don't know. Maybe they could just have I guess you couldn't have a handle coming out here unless this was longer or something. But there's different ways of doing things. I think they do make a left-handed version of this gun, but then it would be purely left-handed. So, but that would be expensive because it's, they don't sell as many of those. So, but another thing and why I recommend this kit, not specifically this color, because I have a friend of mine that bought one in, it was like tan dark earth or something like that, they call it. And it's a tan color, dark earth, whatever. But it looks tan. It's nice too. I just like this color. But there's all kind of colors. They had all kind of colors. I don't know now what they have. I haven't really looked that good. But I always recommend the 15 inch if anybody's going to buy one. If you're going to get on there and order one for yourself, I recommend the 15 inch handguard. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, it helps protect you from burning yourself on this barrel. If you shoot a lot of back-to-back shots, the barrel will get hot to the point where it could really burn you. So now you only have, they call this the flash hider, flash suppressor. You only have that sticking out. You don't have much of the barrel. There's a little bit of barrel sticking out, and that's it. This also helps in your recoil from the barrel kicking up. Because if you notice, it's got all the ports on the top and the sides and nothing on the bottom. That way it helps mitigate the barrel rise that you get from shooting, and it helps mitigate that. Doesn't do anything for sound, of course, or really it doesn't do much for kickback either. It just helps with muzzle rise. So and it does unscrew, so there's other options you can get for your flash suppressors or whatever you want to call it. You can change that out. But this comes fully assembled as you see it right here. I didn't do anything to this. Everything was wrapped beautifully in bubble wrap. They do a real good job wrapping everything up. And so I'm impressed with that. And like I said, it comes right to your door, which is a beautiful thing. I don't think they'll ship to a P.O. box. If you got a P.O. box, you'd have to question them on that. I don't think they will. It's probably going to come to your house, and I think you have to sign for it too, because it's a firearm technically, but the law doesn't consider it a firearm, and we're going to get into that in a second. So this is not considered a firearm, even though it has your bolt carrier group, it has your barrel, so the whole top part is ready to go. You got your charging handle, because you cannot fire it as it is. You need that lower receiver and that trigger assembly and the magazine well to feed the ammo in, your ammunition into the gun, because this is where the ammunition would go in, where your magazine would sit, okay? Without that, it'd be very difficult to try to fire this. I'm not saying it's impossible. I guess anything could be done if you had enough willpower to get it done. I mean, it does have the firing pin in there. Maybe you could shove something in there and smack the firing pin and make it fire with one round in it. I guess if you really wanted to get crazy. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but yeah, so this comes to you like this, fully assembled. I like the long handguard. Like I said, not only does it keep you from getting burned as easily, but it gives you more options to mount stuff. This is called the Key Mod handrail, and you got these little key slots in it, and they make accessories that could hook on here. So you got your right side, you got your left side, and you got your bottom that you can mount extra handles, flashlights, lasers, tripod, bipod, whatever, all kind of stuff. Okay, monopod, whatever you want to do. Okay, all kind of stuff you can mount on here. Then you got your top rail, Picatinny style rail, but it's like a slotted Picatinny. So if you put a scope, you can lock it in, and it won't slide on you and move around under the, the recoil and stuff. It'll be more locked into this slotted Picatinny rail here, which goes damn near the whole length of the gun, all the way back. You do have one spot here where it's, for whatever reason, not notched to match these, just in the way they build it, and then it goes on back, stops here. Okay, so you got a lot of real estate on there to do a lot of cool mods with it. I have one where I have iron sights that fold down. I got iron sight at the very front, and I got one, I don't know, somewhere, I think all the way in the back, that folds down, and a little iron sights. I'm eventually going to upgrade with a scope and a laser and stuff like that, and a flashlight, but I'm just basic right now. But yeah, so you got a lot of options with this, which is really nice. Okay, and that's why I recommend the longer. And I don't think there's a price difference. I don't believe. They have a 12-inch and a 15-inch, and they might even have a 9-inch handguard. I can't remember, but the 12 and 15, 12 is going to bring you back another 3 inches. You're going to be here, but then your barrel's not as protected, and you got less area to mount goodies on, and you got more barrel exposed, and it really doesn't add barely any weight to the gun having that extra 3 inches. So for me, I'd rather have it longer to protect the barrel, protect me from getting burned on accident, give me more area to mount stuff. So that's my opinion, and that's why I chose that style, the 15-inch handguard. So that's your upper receiver. Okay, and like I said, it comes fully assembled just like you see it. You don't have to do anything to that. Okay, when you build your lower receiver with all the parts I showed you, it's going to go right on here. Okay, you can see these two holes. Your lower receiver is going to go on there. These nubs, or whatever you want to call them, are going to go down into the lower receiver, and then you got pins that they're spring loaded. Well, they're captured pins. They're not really spring loaded. They're captured, and then you push them in, and they go click click, and your gun's together, and then your buttstock and your buffer tube and all that come off of the lower receiver, which I'm going to show you that now. That's the most important part. Okay, this is what they would consider a firearm, but it is not considered a firearm, and here's the key difference. Because this is not milled out yet, okay? There's a pocket that's supposed to be here. See how there's a pocket here? And obviously there's a through pocket here, and you have little openings, okay? There's supposed to be a pocket milled out here of certain size, certain depth, and then there'll be a little hole milled out here for your trigger to come through. There's no way you can make this a functional firearm without the proper tooling and jig kit or what have you, or if you're lucky enough to have a machine shop with a CNC and you got a program set up just for this, you could put it in a clamp fixture and the CNC will mill it out for you. In my case, I don't have that. I got to use a jig kit and mill it out. I do have not a CNC, it's a mill. I got a mill lathe machine, a 3-in-1 mill lathe drill press. So it makes it a little easier for me than trying to use a drill or just a drill press. It's a more accurate machine, but I still use the jig kit to guide me because I don't have a CNC. I can't program it. I got to do it all manually. Turning knobs and dials and pulling a lever and making it come down like a drill press. it just saves me a little labor trying to use a drill, you know. But you could use a drill and do it with a drill. I don't recommend that because the drill's not going to be steady. I recommend at least, even if you got a cheap drill press, like a Harbor Freight drill press or something like that, some kind of drill press and some kind of clamp where you can clamp it in and it's held securely. And then also clamp to the table of the drill press or the table of your mill so that there's no way this thing can move. And then you got your jig kit that clamps around it, which I will do in another video. Because like I said, I don't think YouTube's going to let me post it. I'm going to have to post it somewhere else, most likely. I mean, I will try to post it, but they'll probably take it down and give me a strike. I don't know. They're not paying me. They're not monetizing me anyway. But they're making money on my videos that I'm not making a dime on. But that's another story. Anyway, so that's the whole key thing right there is, and you can see fire and safe. So that jig kit has side plates that clamp together around this. And then it has different top plates that screw down into the side plates that allows you to mill out the big pocket. Then there's another plate that goes on there and guides you to mill out the little trigger pocket that you need, the go through hole here. Now the trick is to get the depth right. Okay, if you go too deep, you'll blow through this or you'll blow out the side here. That's what you don't want to do. You don't want to go that deep and blow out. So, you know, you got to have proper tooling to measure it and all that and do it properly. Okay, but this is going to go on here like this. And you can see, now I'm not assembling it. I'm just holding them together, and you can see a pin goes in here and a pin goes in there. And that's how it goes together. Yeah, and then there's a button goes in there, and that's for your mag release that comes out of here, and all that good stuff, okay? But yeah, there's a series of holes that has to go through here for your safety, a couple of pins for your trigger, and that's where the jig kit comes in handy, because it guides you to use the proper size drill bit because of the size of the hole in the jig, and it guides you to drill the hole in a certain spot. Now, that jig kit is not designed to convert your AR to a full auto because that's against the law. You can't do that. And it's not designed to help you do that. It's designed to legally and lawfully put together a legal AR-15 that's legal to own. Now, with that being said, if you're going to buy one of these kits and you're going to do it yourself, okay, one, you got to make sure you have the right tooling or you may destroy your lower receiver, which is going to suck if you have a colored kit, color matched like this. You buy a black one, it's not a big deal. You can just buy another black lower receiver, pretty cheap, 50, 60 bucks, whatever it is, not bad. But to get the colored ones, they're a lot more money. I think they're upwards of $100 and something for the colored ones, somewhere in there. So you do not want to screw up the color ones because you'll be crying, because then you can get a black one and put it on there. It'll work fine. It won't have the same look, you know, because this does look cool with the black, pistol grip on there and stuff, all the black accessories on the color. It looks cool. Like I said, it'll still function good if you got a black lower on here, but it's not going to have that one-piece look. So, if you're getting a colored kit, you really want to be careful. Take your time. Maybe do a little research online. Probably not YouTube, because like I said, I think they took all that stuff down. There used to be tons of videos on there on how to build these step by step. I haven't seen any in forever. I think they took them all down for whatever reason. I don't know. It's legal. Okay? It's legal to do. At least in Florida it is. And another cool thing about this, so this is the part where your buffer tube screws in. You can see the threads are already there, okay? And it screws in, and then there's that little butt plate locks in here, and it actually holds a little spring in there with a little detent rod that gives your detents for for your safety. No, that's the detent for your. This is the pin that goes in and locks it to your upper receiver. So it gives a detent for that pin to click in when you push it. And then you have another pin that goes in here. And when you pull it out, it'll stay captured. And then you push it in, it clicks in. And that's what holds your gun together. Them 2 pins hold your upper to your lower. Okay? But that whole thing, why it can be shipped to your house, okay, is because this is not considered a firearm yet until you mill this out and are able to put a trigger kit in here. Then this is considered a firearm, okay? This is the firearm, not that. On AR-15s, we're talking exclusively AR-15s. We are not talking about other guns. Other guns are different. Don't ask me why. This is AR-15, okay? This is not considered a gun yet. This is considered a paperweight, according to the government, as of right now, June 2024, until you mill that pocket out. Once you mill it out and drill your holes and this is ready to assemble, then it's considered a firearm, even though it's not assembled, is my understanding, okay? So, if you're going to buy one of these kits and you're going to assemble it, I highly recommend that if you assemble this kit, do not then turn around and try to sell it to somebody, because allegedly, according to my understanding of the law, is that if they catch wind that you sold it to somebody and that you built the gun and milled the pocket out, that they could somehow say that you're engaging in manufacturing, and that's illegal because you don't have an FFL, and then you can get arrested, go to jail, you're a criminal, you're a felon, they confiscate your stuff, they raid your house, all kind of stuff. There's horror stories out there, okay? Of bad things happening to good people because they bought an AR. Now, I don't know, but bad things happening to good people, other things. I would imagine that at some point, somebody probably got in trouble for building one of these for whatever reason, I would imagine. I'm sure it's happened. I don't know specifically, but I would not want to get in a situation where they arrested me and said, oh, you're manufacturing without a license and all kind of stuff. And, because what if you build 2 ARs and then eventually you're, years down the road, you're like, oh, I've had these 2 for 10 years. I don't need 2. I just want to keep this one I like. I don't care about the other one. I want to downgrade and sell that one. I don't know. Somehow they get wind that you sold it and then you get in trouble. I don't know what the statute of limitations is on that. So be very careful if you're going to buy one. I recommend only buy it and do the prep work on this and the machining work and build it if you're going to keep it. Okay, not if your intention is to keep it, if you're going to keep it. That's the only way I would say to do that. Don't buy one and then 2 weeks later you got it assembled and you decide I'm going to sell it. Bad idea. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't want to get in the middle of that. I wouldn't do it. Okay? That's my opinion. Think hard before you buy one and make sure you're going to keep it for the long haul. Now, I would imagine, and I'm not an attorney, so I don't know. I don't see what the problem would be. And again, this is my opinion. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know if it'd be a problem if, you die and your wife basically inherits it. I don't know if that'd be a problem. I mean, or, you don't have a wife and you die and one of your kids inherits it. Okay, you didn't sell it to them. You're not manufacturing with the intent to sell. You died and then you can't go to jail because you're dead. So I don't know what the government could do about that. If you're dead, you're dead. Okay, they can't really put you in jail. They could, but it'd smell after a while. But anyway, I don't see there being a problem with, somebody in your family inheriting it after you're gone. I don't see how that would be a problem. Keep in mind, there is no serial number on these things. Anywhere. There's no serial number. That's a good thing and a bad thing, okay? It's good in that Uncle Sam can't track every damn file. Well, they can, don't get me wrong. There's a bill of sale record on every one of these you buy. Okay? So if they want to go to these companies and say, hey, you're going to tell us every single person that bought these and give us all their information they gave you, everything, including the credit card number, I don't think the companies could deny them, unfortunately. Maybe they could, maybe they couldn't. Okay. I don't know. I mean, there should be buyer's privacy rights, but being that they're firearms or, they're potential firearms, and when you mill it, it's going to be a firearm. I don't know what the law is on that. I think you should be entitled to some privacy as a legal American citizen, right to bear arms, Second Amendment, all that good stuff. Uncle Sam shouldn't be going around looking at us buying guns, okay? If you're a criminal, you get busted, that's a different story. If you're a law-abiding citizen like me, you got your concealed weapons permit like me, okay? Now, I'm not going to try to conceal this and carry it. I wouldn't even use this for home defense. It's so damn loud. You shoot this in your house, and that's another thing. You shoot one of these in your house without ear protection on, I promise you'll only do it once. I promise you. Because this thing will probably fucking make your ears bleed, okay? I would not recommend shooting this indoors. It's already way loud enough outdoors, okay? They are friggin' loud, okay? I'm going to tell you. Even with the, whatever you want to call it, the flash suppressor, whatever you want to call it. It's not a sound diminisher in any way. It's not a suppressor, okay? It's just a flash hider. It, mitigates the flash, whatever. But, so that's the deal. You gotta buy the jig kit, and they do sell, Daytona Tactical does sell the jig kit for these. They have another version of this called an AR-10, which is a little different. It's got a bigger mag well and some bigger barrel, obviously, and it shoots 308 rounds. Okay? That's a lot more money. I didn't buy one. I'm not getting into that. It's similar to this. Bigger barrel, bigger mag well, obviously bigger bolt. It's bigger. It shoots a bigger round. Okay? There's another version of this made, and I don't know if Daytona Tactical sells it. I didn't look into it. But it's called 300 Blackout, and that's one of the newer additions to an AR-15 platform. The 300 Blackout, the only difference in that, is the barrel's different. The barrel is bigger, okay? And as far as I know, I don't know if the bolt carrier group's different. It might be. No, it can't be. Because the cartridge is exactly the same, except for where it necks down to the 22 projectile, basically 22 caliber projectile, just longer, heavier, with a lot more powder behind it, obviously. The 300 Blackout, the neck doesn't neck down as much. It's bigger, and it's got a bigger projectile, fatter, okay? Same amount of powder behind it, give or take, okay? But a way fatter projectile. So you can use your same magazines and everything, but you got to have a different barrel. Okay, so I believe, and I'm pretty sure that you can convert this to a 300 Blackout if you bought the 300 Blackout barrel. Okay, and I had thought about doing that at one point. Problem is the ammo's not as easy to find. It's probably a lot more expensive. I got a buddy of mine that has one that he bought somewhere, and the problem with that is, the big problem I see is you got to be real careful if you have an AR-15 in your possession and a 300 Blackout, because they both take the same magazines, will fit in either gun, and the same magazines can use either ammo. If you mix up the magazines and you put a 300 Blackout into a 5.56 gun, you will probably blow the gun up, or something bad will happen, because it will, from my understanding, and we haven't tried it, my friend and I have not tried it, and we may try it. I think somebody's tried it. I believe, from what I heard, I believe it will chamber that round. Okay? Because the breech or whatever in there where the bullet sits, I think is bigger before it gets to the barrel. So the problem is, when it's chambered and that breech is locked and everything, whatever, when it goes to fire, it's going to fire. And then that bullet's going to move forward ever so slightly and plug the barrel because it's 300 blackout and not a 22 caliber. Okay, there's a difference there. What is that going to do? That's going to plug your barrel up. It's not going to go down the barrel. All the pressure is going to go where? Your barrel just got plugged. All the pressure is going backwards and sideways. Okay, what's that going to do when you got 50,000 psi of pressure, 55, whatever it is? It's going to blow your freaking gun up right in your hand, okay? Or if you're real lucky, maybe it'll just blow the bolt back and shear the locking lugs off the breech, you know, on your barrel or on your bolt carrier group if you're lucky. Maybe that's all that'll happen. But probably more catastrophic things will happen than just that. So if you're going to have both renditions of this, you're going to have a 5.56 and a 300 blackout, I would highly recommend that you do something stupid like put markings on the mags and markings on the gun. So as you're loading them, you got a bright orange dot here and bright orange dot on the mag, and the other one's got bright green and bright green. Oh, well, you got to put the green and orange. Oh, wait, they don't match. I better not put that in there, you know, because you're in the heat of the moment trying to load guns at the range, out in the woods. You lose track. You don't pay attention for a second. You're pretty sure you got the right one, but you don't know. No, you got to mark them somehow or you're going to get in trouble sooner or later. Unless you really know what you're looking at and you visually check the magazine every single time, you can visually see the difference between a 22 and a 300 blackout. But you would have to be disciplined and check it every single time and know which gun you're holding in your hand. Okay? If you put 22s in a 300 blackout, I don't think it's going to hurt it, but the 22 is probably going to be bouncing all the way down the barrel because it's so loose in there, which I can't see that being a good thing for the barrel either. You know, it's probably not good, and it ain't going to blow the gun up putting a 22 in a 300 blackout, but I wouldn't do it and I wouldn't recommend it. You know, it could scar your barrel up or something, who knows. And it may not do anything to it, I don't know. It's not going to come out the barrel as fast because the pressure is dissipating around the bullet. But I wouldn't want to do that, and I definitely wouldn't want to accidentally put a 300 blackout into a 5.56. Okay, and with that being said, so now you know about this and how this works. Okay, I'm going to show you some magazines now, okay? So, I'm going to take this aside. Okay. Now, there's our lower receiver. Okay. I'll just do it this way. Boom. I'll show you a couple. Okay, now this one. This is a PMag, 40 round, okay? Fits ARs and M4s. This is Gen M3, okay? They got 3, however you want to look at it, or 3, still 3, different versions of this, okay? So, this is version M3, the 3rd generation. This is the one I prefer, and the only one I recommend, and let me tell you why, okay? This is 40 round. They make them in 30 round. I think I have a 30 rounder somewhere. I'm not sure if they make them in 10. I think they make them in 10. Yeah, I know they make them in 30 and 40. I don't know if they make them in 10 or 20. I'm not sure because I wouldn't buy nothing that small. Smallest magazine I own is a 30 round. Okay? Because what's the point in having a big, scary rifle that they call it, okay, and you got 10 rounds in it? We're not in California, my friends. Okay, so this is a kind of hard to see there. PMag 40 round. Okay, hold 40 rounds. Says the ammo size right there. Okay. Now, if I didn't tell you, the AR kits I just showed you, they will shoot 5.56 or 2.23 ammo. 5.56 and 2.23 look pretty much identical to the naked eye. 5.56 has a little bit more pressure in the cylinder, in the barrel. I think it's 55,000 psi, something like that. I don't know what the 2.23 is, a little bit lower. Okay, so I think there's a little bit more, slightly more foot-pounds of energy on impact with the 5.56, slightly more feet per second with the 5.56, I believe. But for all intents and purposes, I've shot both. I don't really notice a difference. Maybe at long range you would notice something. Maybe with the drop angle, whatever. I'm not real technical on that stuff. There's all kind of YouTube videos about that, I'm sure, and debates about it. I get whatever ammo is readily available for me. I prefer brass casings, and that's pretty much what I've been lucky enough to get. There are other cheaper ones I guess you can get that are steel cased ammo. I'm not a big fan of that because it can more tend to scratch stuff up in your gun versus the brass casings. So I prefer brass, and I've been lucky enough to get that. So this is a PMag 3rd generation. What I like about this is it's got this capturing system. It's pretty snug on there. Okay, so you got this little cover that pops on there, right? You may say, what's that for? Okay. Well, what's cool about that, and you can see it's got little recesses in here, okay? These recesses capture and support these feed lips right here, okay? See these feed lips? It's plastic. So when you have 40 rounds of ammo pushing down on this spring, and this, what do they call that? The magazine follower. They call it a follower. So, okay, and you can see how it's got a little offset right there, right? And you say, well, what's that offset for? That's because if you look at the ammo, see how it's stacked? It's staggered, okay? You can see how it kind of looks like this magazine is bowing out at the top a little bit, because it kind of is. It's been sitting loaded for probably 2 years. It's been sitting loaded like this, okay? This is a Pro Mag. I might as well show you since I'm holding it. That's a Pro Mag. That's a different brand. This holds 42 rounds. Nothing wrong with it. I don't like it as much as the PMag. PMag and Pro Mag are not to be confused. They are 2 different companies. Okay? This one's made by Magpul, and this one, I guess, is made by Pro Mag, I believe. I don't know if that's a subsidiary. It does say made in the USA on there. This is made in the USA also. Okay, so I like the the PMag better than the Pro. That's just my personal preference. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this. It's just in my gun, it seemed to fit a little tighter in the magazine. Like if it was empty, it wouldn't. You could feel it's kind of snug. Like it wouldn't just drop out. You know, you want your magazines when they're empty, they're lighter. Of course, it would drop out when it's loaded because it's heavy. But when it's empty, that's when the key comes in. Is it going to drop out? Probably not. Then you got to pull it out, okay? It does fit good. You can see how far it goes up when it hits the stop. It goes up in there, okay? And that's how the bolt carrier, as it comes forward, catches the bullet, strips it out of there, and it slides up into the breech of the barrel, goes up in there. So yeah, that's 42 rounds right there. But as you can see, it's open though. I mean, you can see it's open, right? There's nothing supporting these feed lips. And there's always spring tension pushing up. I can push down on this. That spring tension is always pushing up and trying to push this lip out that way. This one's not so bad because that bullet's sitting lower. But this one is always trying to push like this. It's trying to push up and out because you got this bullet pushing against it this way and the bottom bullet pushing up. So you got 2 forces acting on that, trying to push it out that way, kind of, sort of. And that puts pressure on that feed lip, right? Okay, well, I can get that. I'll just put it here so you can see the difference. So when you look at this one, okay, it's going to have the same kind of deal going on there. except for, okay, when you put this on there during storage, okay, obviously you can pull these off in the heat of the moment, but during storage, and this goes on this way, okay, and you could see it's going to lock down over them feed lips right there. And as you can see there, it's going to help support them feed lips a little bit from getting pushed up or kind of pushed out. It's going to help support them. And that, I believe, is only on the M3, the 3rd generation, I believe. I don't think they put these on the M2. I like that, and from what I can tell at the time I bought these, this seemed to be the only magazine on the market, the PMag, that had that option for, to support it. I thought that was pretty cool. And it might also prevent them from popping out if you dropped the magazine. I think it would keep the ammo from boing, pop some of it blowing out of there and popping out. It is pretty secure. You really got to pull back on this to get it to release. It's pretty damn secure. I like these. I like the style. They're very similar to the Pro Mag. Very similar. Okay? But keep in mind, this is 42 rounds. This is 40 rounds. Not a big deal. But I prefer the makeup of the PMags better myself. Okay? 4 composite plastic magazines we're talking here. Okay? So, let's see here. I put this in. Now, it's not really a fair comparison because I don't have ammo in this, so there's no pressure on the feed lip. But as of right now, it'll fall out of there when it's empty, no problem. There's no drag on that, okay? So, I like these. I think they're good, okay? Now, with that being said, I'll put that back, okay? And I do like that because not only does it help support the feed lips, but if you drop it, it's probably less likely that ammo is going to come flying out of there if it hits the ground. And it probably keep dirt and junk from getting in there too if you're in the bush or whatever, you know what I mean? So that's cool. Okay, I can get rid of that lower receiver. Now we'll go into a couple other mags. So we got our 42 rounder Pro Mag. We got our 40 round P Mag. Now we got a 30 round Hex Mag. Go figure. They call it a Hex Mag, and there's a lot of friggin' hexes on it, right? This is there it is. Hex Mag. Okay, where's it made? Made in the USA, baby. Okay. Alright, this is their HX-AR Series 2. Okay, I have, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 of these ones. Okay. I've never shot these, so I don't know how good they are. They got good reviews. I got them cheap. One time I was at mine. I bought these locally, okay? Now these, me and my buddy bought them in 10 packs. We got online. We searched for the cheapest supplier. Whatever website was selling the cheapest. And we bought 10 and we split it 5-5. So he got 5 and I got 5. Pretty cool. This one I got at a gun show. Just one by itself because I didn't have any magazines for my gun at the time. And I bought this one, okay? And that was like $20-something for one, okay? I forget, maybe 25, 22, I don't know. And then we bought these. We got a 10-pack, and I think it made them like, I don't know, 15, 16 bucks a piece, which I thought was a good deal. And we got 5 each. So I thought we bought more than that, but I guess not. So I thought we bought 2 rounds of these things, 10 and then another 10. But anyway, so we got these, okay? Then I got all these locally at a local little Army Navy store by me that they had these on sale one time, and they were 10 bucks a piece, 30 rounder. Okay, it's not a 40 round, it's a 30 round, but still, it's a little bit more compact, as you can see. If I line it up on the end there, you can see it's a little bit more compact. Okay, these two are not much different. A little bit. You can see that Pro Mag is ever slightly longer than the P Mag. Enough to give you what? Another 2 rounds in it. Okay, so that's that. But if you really want the maximum Rambo experience, You can get the PMag 42 rounder. I personally, and this is my personal opinion, I don't recommend those round magazines, drum magazines they call them, that hold 100 rounds. I don't trust them. They could jam. I don't know. They're awkward. They're big. They're bulky. In a bad scenario where shit hits the fan or whatever, and you need to do something for your life, I wouldn't trust one of those magazines myself. Plus, like I said, they're big, bulky. How many of those things can you carry? They're big, round, like this. They're like a big cylinder with a little neck sticking off the top of it that goes into the mag well of your gun. I mean, they're awkward. How the hell do you carry it? These here, you can carry a bunch of them. Stick them in your back pocket, in your front pocket. There's 4 right there. 1 per pocket. If you got cargo shorts like me, you got some more you can carry. They're easier to carry. Okay? And another thing is, what's cool is, you could take these kind of magazines and you can, do the double stack thing and duct tape them together. Or they may even make special little clamps that clamp on there and hold them. But, in the heat of the moment, if you have to do something real quick, roll of duct tape does wonders. Slap a bunch of tape or electrical tape or whatever kind of tape you got, tape them together. Just make sure they're out far enough from each other where it'll go into the mag well without any restriction there that's going to keep you from fully seating the mag. That you'd want to test it prior to needing that. If you're not sure, you could just kick it back a little bit, make sure you got enough clearance, tape the hell out of it, and now when you pop that in your gun, you got whatever, 30, 40 rounds, whatever magazine you're doing. And when that one's done, you pop it out, flip it over, and then what do you got? Another 30, 40 rounds, whatever you got there, depending on your magazine. Okay? So you could double your capacity that's on your gun by doing something like that. Okay? And even if you just did one like that, one set, okay, and like if I took 2 40s, now I got 80 rounds on my gun, so I'm carrying 2 mags on my gun, and then 2 in my front pocket, each pocket, 1 in each rear pocket. Now I got 4 mags on me, 2 in the gun, I got 6 mags, at 40 rounds a mag. That's what, 240 rounds of ammo on me, without any other special gear, okay? You try to get them big barrel mags, I don't know how the hell you carry those things. So, that's just my opinion. These are more proven reliable. The spring system in this is reliable. I've had this PMag loaded, like I said, a couple years, and I'd bet my life I could plop this in my gun and it's going to fire. Okay? I'm not worried about it. Then, like I said, I got these little hex mags, okay, little 30 rounders. 30's a good compromise if you don't want something too big and bulky, but you still want something with a decent amount of ammo. A 30 is a good compromise. I know one of my uncles swore by 30 round, because me and him were talking guns one time, and he's like, oh, I would never do a 40 rounder. I would only do 30s because it's not over bulky. It doesn't weigh your gun, because remember, the more ammo is hanging off your gun, the heavier your gun is. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind too. So there's a pro and con there. If I take 2 of these 40 rounders, well, a 42 and a 40, whatever, and I duct tape them together, and they're both fully loaded, that's a lot of weight hanging off your gun. Okay, so there's a pro and con there. Okay, so you got to think about that. So now that we got those out of the way, now we'll get into, here's an aluminum magazine. Not branded. I don't know what brand it is. Okay. It is loaded. Okay. The advantage of these, if you can find them and get them somewhere. And like I said, this is not branded at all. I know where I got it, but I'm not going to say. But I have a couple of these. Okay. And not many. I got a couple. I think. I might have 2 or 3 of these. This is an aluminum AR-15 mag. Okay, it holds 30 rounds, just like the Hex mag does. 30 rounds. It is slightly shorter than the Hex mag, because it doesn't need this big, bulky plastic plate on the bottom. It's all thinner aluminum, okay? So, and these are pretty reliable. The nice thing about this, the feed lips are aluminum. So, they're not subject to the flex out like the plastic could be, or the polymer, or whatever you want to call it, okay? So, that's the advantage there. Let me grab my 80% lower again. Still in its 80% configuration, okay? And like butter, okay? Like butter. Loaded, unloaded, doesn't matter. That's coming out. Now, downside to having metal, aluminum, over time, you're slapping them in, you're slapping them out. It could scratch up your mag well, okay? So that's the downside to aluminum. But, I do like these AR kits also because they have the flared magwell on them, which I think most ARs do, to help you in getting it in. And there are some fancier ARs out there, some upper model ones, that have a really big flared lip on them, which is cool. But I think you can buy an accessory that goes on there, and it's like an add-on flare or whatever, polymer or whatever, maybe even aluminum, I don't know. But I thought I seen one that was an add-on flare that brought this out more. Pretty cool. But, so yeah, so that's an aluminum one. And, I would probably trust my life with any of these. I haven't put any shot time on this one, or this one. I shot my Pro Mag, and I think I have another P Mag. Or this is the Pro Mag. I think I have another P Mag that's loaded somewhere, that I shot. No problems, no feed problems, nothing. These have yet to be seen, but there's a place for these. It's all personal preference, what you like. This kind of looks cheap to me just because of spot welds. There was no care given as to any alignment of the spot welds or anything. So to me, it just kind of looks more industrial, military-ish, It's not pretty. It's a get the job done kind of thing. It'll work for sure, but you can't, it's not easily disassemblable. I don't know if you could disassemble this to, if you had to change the spring out or to maintenance it or whatever, if you got a bunch of dirt in it. I don't know if you could pull this apart because of the crimps on here, the way it's designed. Maybe somebody can chime in. I don't have any experience messing with this. It looks like there's a little lock nub right there. You might be able to pull this back and flex it and get it out. And then your spring comes shooting out your face. And you may not be able to get it back together. Again, I don't know. These, you can disassemble them pretty easily. There's usually a couple little things you got to push in right here simultaneously. And then you can slide the back plate off. As you can see, there's a lip, capture lip. It'll slide off this way. Then you can disassemble it for cleaning or whatever if you want to. This one's the same way. This has one thing in the middle you got to push in and you can do it. This one, same thing. You can push that little button in the middle. And I don't know if I can do it with one hand and do this. There you go. And you can see I can take it apart right there if I want to. Okay. And then it locks. That thing pops up and locks. And they're pretty cool little hex. I like that. You could disassemble this one with no tools. Those ones, not as easily. Okay. And then if you're going to get an AR and you're going to do this, I would highly suggest a gun mat. Because there's a couple of reasons. You get you an AR-15 gun mat, okay? It has all the specs about, a generic mil-spec AR-15. As you can see, this picture's a little different because it's showing the old style sight that goes on there. That's a sight / gas block. And you can see the hand guard is a lot shorter, and then there's a lot of open barrel. That depicts an older style AR-15 as opposed to my more modern style, okay? Because that sight is the gas block, I believe. And then the tube comes off the top of that. So they minimize the parts there, okay? And then when you scroll over here, that reflects that, okay? There's a two-piece plastic handguard, polymer, whatever it is. And then there's your gas block slash, let me see what they say, front sight base, okay? But then there's your gas tube, 79 gas tube. Where's it going into? It's going into your gas block. Let me see, 78 front sight taper pin, gas tube. Yeah, see, they don't really call that a gas block, but it is. It's I guess it is a gas block slash sight, 2-in-1. So, and your front hand guard kind of locks into it also. So it holds the front hand guard, and it's a gas block, and it's a sight. So, yeah, and things are a little different on this one. I wish I could have got one. I got this real cheap, but I wish I could have got one with the more modern part list of the modern AR like I got. But this is very similar. So, yeah, so that's what's cool. They list all the parts and stuff. So it's really cool. If you could find the more modern one like that gun is, that what you would know, because it would have the different handrail, which is a one piece. They wouldn't show it in two pieces. It's a one piece aluminum handrail. And then, you would see that on there, and it wouldn't have that block like that. It would have the low profile block in there. So, because if you could find something like that, that'd be great, because it enables you to get familiar with what you're building. You can look and see all your parts that need to go into this and get a general idea what you're doing. Because I would imagine nowadays it's probably hard to get videos that are going to show you how to do this, unfortunately. Like I said, I do want to do a video on that and see if I can post it somewhere. If I do, I'll let you guys know. This is a long ass video, hour and 12 minutes. Okay, I'm done rambling. And with that, with that, I guess we will catch you on the next one. Later.